Chapter 47. Well, shit, here we are, Nora comments happily. Is it just me, guys, or was this mission way easier than the last one? The rest of us trudge out of the forest behind her, looking up gratefully at the distant but finally visible walls of Skyhope. We'd made it to the ring of cleared land around the city, which more or less marks the successful end of our mission. We did well. Bentley agrees excitedly. Everyone is doing much better now. I'm feeling a bit outpaced, Orville complains. You're all figuring out your talents, Vita has two now, both of which are fucking insane, and I'm pretty much the same as always. Don't worry, Orville. Bentley answers. You'll get strong, too. You already are. Whatever, Orville grumbles. We were just carried by Penelope and Vita again. I'm too tired to shoot him a sympathetic look, and I'm not sure I could muster a proper one regardless. We got sent out to go scout and destroy Nora in the forest almost immediately on getting back, and I'm still freshly reeling from the aftermath of Lisha. On returning, I'd only had a couple hours to rush home and talk to my family, but Rowan and Lynn hadn't been there. Another 10 days later, and we're finally getting back to the city for a more reasonable amount of time. I'm exhausted, albeit more emotionally than physically. A fresh supply of souls has kept me up and moving where I otherwise might not be. Fed up with holding back and suspected of heresy by the Templars anyway, I told my team about my second talent, the Death Touch, which has since evolved into a Death Aura. Walking into small groups of monsters, I can just send tentacles into them if they're close enough, soul-ripping them all at once. My tendril range is only about 3 feet so far, but they're slowly growing longer as I eat more and more. The ability makes many otherwise dangerous pack-hunting creatures trivial, and since we weren't going very deep into the forest, those kinds of creatures tended to reign supreme. With my recent hatching and impressively robust diet, the whole trip turned out to be quite the buffet. If not for how badly I've been itching to go home the whole time, it would have been kind of nice. I mean, we did our part, Orville, but you're not entirely wrong, Nora says. Seriously, Vita, what kind of magic push-ups have you been doing, girl? I have never seen a talent as crazy as that. I shrug. I'm sure there are hunters and Templars with stronger stuff. There are, Penelope confirms. We did just go on a trip with Gladra the Annihilator, after all. The other High Templars are comparable to her. What's she like, anyway? Orville asks, perking up a bit. Gladra is a legend. The strongest talentless mage. Well, I guess I can see why he'd be fond of her, but she's awful, I answer flatly. She pretty much spent the trip harassing me for fun, and she almost choked me to death once. Yes, she's clever, but I got the distinct impression that she's mentally unstable, Penelope answers. She kept deferring to a Templar squad leader that she should have technically outranked. Perhaps the clergy are aware and assigned her a handler. Oh, Orville grumbles, his mood dropping even lower than before. Figures. Apparently she got super strong by channeling mana constantly, even when she isn't casting a spell, I comment. What? How is she even alive? One mistake and Watcher's eyes, that's fucking insane. Yes, case in point, Penelope answers blandly. I shudder a little. Watcher's eyes. I get why that's such a common swear, now. I roll my own eye around in my body, for no other reason than to enjoy the idle movement. We had a successful mission, all in all. While it's impossible to know if we've cleared the forest of Nora entirely, we did find and subsequently kill a significant number of them, which will doubtlessly please the people in charge. While I ate the feral ones we just caught, every Nora from Lishabarim Lime is still stored safely inside my body, plus the human soul of Theodora. Penelope was firm on the point that I should keep her soul safe. Apparently she still has things she wants to ask the woman. Since she now gets to ask them without worrying whether or not Theodora will be inclined to answer, I get the impression that she is not super torn up about Theodora's death. Whatever, I'm not either. I just care that I caused it. People die, but I don't like being the one to kill them if they don't deserve it. I'm still furious at myself about it. Hopefully she won't mind being a revenant too much. Not that she'll have a choice, I guess. Soon enough we're back at the gate, where a biomancer is now stationed to scan every single person to enter. It would probably be a pain if there were any significant number of people trying to enter the city, but travel tends to be limited and they have more biomancers on duty when farmers are lining up to import their wares. Penelope seems mildly offended to be subjected to the scan, as she has apparently modified her body to be permanently inhospitable to Nora. Or so she claims, anyway. Is it all right if I break off here? I asked my team. I need to go home. Oh, you're such a good daughter, Vita. Nora coos. I wouldn't mind helping you carry stuff, if you want, Orville offers. I have nowhere to be. I need to resume your family's treatments, Penelope comments idly. It's unfortunate we've been away so much. Well, I mean, if we're making a thing about it, I do kinda want to meet your family, Nora says awkwardly, scratching her cheek. Ooh. Can I come? Bentley begs. I look up at everyone, a slightly annoyed expression on my face. I've been looking forward to some time to myself and my de facto parents or older siblings or whatever Lynn and Rowan are to me. Family, somehow, or at least the closest to family that I can understand. Still, though, I'm not one to waste opportunities. You can only come if you help buy food, I tell them. I'm giving your family free magical healthcare, Penelope reminds me, smiling wryly. You're also the richest person here by several orders of magnitude, I answer, merciless. Pay up. Everyone agrees, to my surprise, but apparently I shouldn't be that shocked. Normal people buy food for each other all the time, I'm told. Sounds like a wacky practice to me, but I'm happy to take advantage of it. My team even buys food around the gate, which is all massively overpriced but admittedly very tasty. Not that the kids will care. Food is food. I buy from a more reasonable stall deeper into my part of the city. As we get to poorer and poorer districts, Bentley starts giving away more and more of the food he bought, to my increasing irritation. I'm not opposed to charity in general. It's how I survived a significant portion of my life, after all. That food is supposed to be for my family, though. Yet the poor guy looks so horrified at the state of the bad part of town, I leave him be. Then some moronic kid tries to steal something from Bentley's pockets, though, and I just about lose it. Are you fucking stupid? I growl, snatching the girl's wrist. If you steal from the people giving things away, they won't come back. Nobody comes back anyway, the tangle-haired brat hisses through missing teeth. She can't be more than 8 years old, being a head shorter than even me. The girl's blonde hair is closer to brown from all the dirt in it, and she glares up at me with the kind of piercing, cynical eyes I know all too well. I snatch the stolen money from her hand, glaring right back at her. I come back, I snap. And if you don't learn to pick your targets better, you'll be lucky if the next heavily armed hunter team you steal from stops after breaking your fingers. Scowling, she pulls her hand away, rubbing her wrist. Bentley gives her some food anyway, and she runs off. Don't you think that was a little harsh, Vita? Nora asks, her voice a mix of shock and concern. I've seen people die stealing from the wrong person. I was almost one of them. I hope that was harsh enough. You could maybe encourage her to not be a thief. Orville posits. And do what instead? I ask, exasperated. You wanna adopt her, Orville? Come on, let's go. If we try to help everyone in the city we'll die of old age. I stomp off, feeling a lot more angry than I know I should be. The others follow in silence, letting me stew. It's obvious that I've been a bundle of stress and nerves since Lisha, but I haven't told the others why. Maybe Penelope has, but even if she did or if I told them myself, I'd still have to leave out the most important part. The part one can't get over. The part where Penta is dead because of me. She's right here, hidden inside, and yet I can't talk to her. I don't know what I'm going to do with her. I fucked up bad so Penelope killed her and I can't even be fucking mad at her about it because she fucking saved my life. I'm the only person I can blame. It isn't long before the shack comes into view, and while a few people, likely informants for the Drakens, peek at us as we pass through the alleyways. We aren't accosted further in any way worth mentioning. The slab of wood that passes for our door is shut, the kids perhaps wisely deciding to act as though no one is home as 5 heavily armed and armored people approach them. Soon, though, Vida, a tide of children rushes out of the shack, forcing me to drop to my knees or risk getting bowled over. The youngest ones hit first, swarming me with hugs. Holy shit, but they look so much healthier. It's obvious that they've made good use of the money I left them. They still look starved, honestly. Cheeks hollow, bodies frail, it's much the same side I'm used to seeing. But because I'm so used to it, the improvements are striking to me. Just a bit more flesh where I'd expect bone, just a smidgen more color where I'd expect ashy skin. It's no question why they're so happy to see me. At this point, I'm a better supplier for them than Lynn is. Considering that the only reason Lynn hasn't stolen them the whole island already is the Drakens, I suspect that damn gang isn't too happy with me. That's a problem that will be heading my way soon enough. Not yet, though. Not right now. Right now, I have something more important on my mind. Vida, Lynn says, exiting the shack after the wave of kids. Hey Mom, I answer, grinning up at her. She blushes lightly, turning away and giving me a sideways look. And now you quit that, Vida. Is this your whole hunter team? Yup, I answer, nodding. You know Orville and Penelope already. That's Bentley, and that's Nora. Bentley waves, already having made fast friends with one of the kids thanks to gifts of food and a heaping helping of his hearty Bentley-ness. Nora nods at Lynn, still taking in the scene. It's funny to me how out of sorts people look around my home. It must be like how I feel around the richer districts. A pleasure to meet you, ma'am, Nora says politely, nodding. Lynn dramatically grunts a pain noise, twitching like she's been struck. No ma'am stuff. Please. I'm only 23. Nora says, looking around at the 12 children. They are adopted. Lynn insists, then realizes her mistake. No wait, shit. I mean I'm not their mom. I just take care of them. I can't help but laugh. The food that had been in my arms is long gone now, exposing the real reason so many of my siblings, and I guess that's really what they are, had been in such a rush to hug me. I give firm instructions to my team to not let the kids eat too much so they can spread the meals over a few days. Then I break off, approaching the shack end. My mom. It's great to see you again, she says with a smile, pulling me in for a hug. You've been doing okay. I swallow, feeling tears form unbidden and doing my best to hold them in. I've been better, I whisper. Is Rowan around? No, she answers. One or both of us is pretty much always with the Drakens, even at night. Things have been getting better, thanks to you, but we're being run ragged. I don't think it's spite on their part, though. I think they're just gearing up for something big. I nod, letting her slowly lead me to the hatch downstairs. We jump down and immediately she's holding me again, somehow knowing I've been starved for the contact. Carefully, I reach my tendrils through her belly, lightly wrapping her beautiful, warm soul that glows like the sky. Immediately she jerks, back arching and body shuddering. Ah! She yelps. Is that you? I retract immediately, startled by the reaction despite myself. I suppose Penna acted like that the first time, too. Why yes. Sorry. Is it weird? I'm just, sorry. Sorry. It feels like my own fear of mortality just grew arms and started to hold me, Lynn remarks with a dumbfounded expression. Kinda nice other than the constant panic-inducing heart attack. What the heck did you do? I hugged your soul, I answer. With my, tentacles. There's a beat of silence. With your what? My tentacles, I repeat, demonstrating by grabbing and twirling my hair around them. I have, invisible tentacles coming out of my soul. Of course you do. Lynn says, her voice excessively pleasant as she stares at my head. Well, that's certainly a thing. But may I just say what the fuck? I grew them when I hatched from my egg, I explain. My, soul egg, I guess. The Mistwatcher looked at me and broke my shell. I have a soul eye too. It's neat. There's another long pause, and eventually Lynn just pulls me back in for another hug. I hug her back, just using my arms this time, and squeeze her as hard as I can. "Oh, honey," she says softly, holding me close. "Is this what has you so out of sorts?" I swallow. "No. The soul stuff is fine." "What is it, then?" She presses softly. "What happened?" The tears start to come back. I give up on holding them, and this time, with just Lynn and I here. I have plenty of clean water now, so it's not a waste. Here, alone together, it's okay. "Penta's dead," I answer, my breath starting to come out in gasps. Penelope had to kill her because I did something stupid. I don't know what to do. I have my friend's soul, Lynn. But you saw Greg. You remember him? He was different. I don't know if Penta would be different. And if she will be. I don't know if I want her to be. I break into sobs, squeezing my mom tight. The fact that she's dead, the fact that I'm the one who got her killed. Those things hurt me. I hate them, regret them, and wish they weren't true. Yet what has really been ripping me apart inside is that I can bring her back. I can bring her back any time I want, but it just doesn't feel right to do it. I know it would be wrong, I sob. She'll be different if I bring her back. I don't want her to be like Greg. But it's either that or I don't get her for a long time. Or maybe even at all. Lynn is silent for a while, holding me close and letting me cry into her chest. "I can't even imagine what that's like," she answers eventually, her eyes distant. "To be able to bring someone back from the dead, but to bind and change them like you do. It's a heavy power, Vita. Strong, useful, and frightening. There are ways I've wanted you to use it for us, you know." I turn my face up, puffy eyes staring at her. "Like what?" "It doesn't matter," she dismisses softly. "You're doing more than enough as it is. I would much rather you be safe than give us a single thing more. But what was it you said about maybe getting your friend back after a long time?" I sniff up some snot, trying not to get any more of it on Lynn's clothes. It was just a thought Penta and I had before she died, I say. My talent makes people weird and creepy, but if I learn real animancy, I could maybe change it so it brings them back normal. Even if, still dead. And we thought maybe it might be possible to make a living person, if I was really good. Lynn's eyes go wide as she chews on that thought. "Well, your friend's soul isn't going anywhere in the meantime, right? You're keeping her safe." I nod. I think so." "Well then don't think of her as dead at all," Lynn answers. "You're just apart for now. It happens. Sometimes we don't get to see people we love for a long time, but that doesn't mean we care about them any less. If there's a way, Vita, you can work to find it. Your instincts are right, it's okay to wait. Listen to your gut on it, kiddo." "That, I don't know about. If I'd listened to my gut she'd have been eaten long ago. Still, I feel a lot better just being here, talking with her about it." "Thanks, Lynn," I choke out. "Can't I hug your soul again?" Lynn tenses a little, then sighs the kind of exasperated sigh reserved exclusively for mothers. "Yeah, Vita," she answers. "Gimme a good soul snuggle." I gratefully oblige, making sure not to squeeze too hard. I can't let my hunger get the best of me. Chapter 48. Lynn and I exit the lower room to find my team getting along with the kids. Bentley and Nora race each other while giving piggyback rides. Orville patiently allows two of the girls to braid his white hair, which he's been growing out recently. Penelope is doing her healing work, stoically treating one of the little ones while delightful chaos unfolds around her. One of said little ones immediately struts up to me and kicks me hard in the shin. "Oh. What the fuck?" I snap. Before I'm even done talking, though, she buries her head in my belly, arms squeezing tightly around my waist. "Gone too long," she mumbles. I snort out a sigh, annoyance leaving as I hug her back. "Well, I can't say I disagree," I answer. "It's good to be back. You eat enough while I was gone? She nods. Orville got us lots of food before he left too, she answers. Did he? I raise an eyebrow his way, but he just shrugs. Well damn, I owe him now. I pick the little one up and go rushing after Bentley and Nora. With her on my shoulders, we're almost as tall as them. Tendrils pulsing in and around my legs, it's time to see if I can actually beat our two martial experts with this new power. My little sister whoops and cheers as I run after my team, although to my annoyance they both slow down and simply let me catch up. Uh-oh, Nora coos, tickling her passenger's feet. Looks like we have a new racer. She picked up the youngest one of the kids, or at least who I assume to be the youngest since he's so small. I've never really asked. He giggles and cheers, though, which puts a smile on my face. So then, we have a new team. Bentley announces. Vida and I glance up at the kid on my shoulders. What was her name, again? Angelica? I hedge. Angelian. She corrects angrily, drumming my head in protest. I'm Angelian. Yeah, that. Vida and Angelian, reporting, I say, saluting blandly. Nora and Bentley both give me a weird look. What? I demand. This is your family, right? Nora questions. Like, you lived here? Yeah, I guess so, I answer hesitantly. Vida never talks to anybody. Angelian complains. She never listens either. I scowl, not really refuting it. Nora and Bentley share a concerned glance, but to my relief we just return to the races. The two of them chat with the kids as we run, their overly excited voices laced with a condescending tone that the kids lap up. I guess when you're actually a kid, it doesn't hurt to be treated like one. I manage to win a few races, but that happens less and less as I tire until eventually I can't even come close to them. Nora's endurance far outstrips mine, and as far as I can tell Bentley never gets tired. His soul feels weird. Like there must be more to his talent that I don't understand. It's not really my mystery to solve, though, and I wouldn't know how to go about trying anyway. Vida, Penelope interrupts hurriedly, approaching us with a sweat-drenched face. Your turn now. Oh, all right, I answer, removing the current child from my shoulders. You're odd, I think? Maybe Jari? One of those two. Thanks again for doing this, Penelope. Of course, she breathes. It's good practice for me anyway. Now come on, I need you to lie down. I do as instructed, trying to shift so that lying on my belly won't be horribly uncomfortable. Times like this I can't help but be really glad to have met you, I comment idly. But then there are other times you're just this conniving bitch and I want to rip your throat out. It's hard to get a read on you. Penelope sighs, and from the way her soul sings a clockwork beat I can feel she's measuring her response carefully. You're still mad about Lisha, aren't you? The biomancer eventually asks. Yeah, I confirm. I know you were doing it to save me, but I still can't forgive you for it. Maybe that's dumb, but it's how it is. What exactly did you do to the two slimes that possessed you against your will, again? Penelope responds coldly. If anyone had a right to kill that creature, it was me. You know that. Besides, it was going to be found one way or another anyway. How would you even get back into Skyhope? I nod a little, scowling. I feel a little better after talking with Lynn about it, but I can't help but be frustrated. Well again, thanks for treating everyone. She murmurs. Speaking of treating, I need to treat you to another spa day today. We're introducing you to First Floor Rebus, and you have to look your best. I raise an eyebrow. That's your fiancé, right? The guy that basically owns me, now? More or less, yes, she answers. We've caused a lot of trouble for the house, so I'll need to reassure him that you're worth it. Which means you need to make a good impression. Well, as you well know, I have a long history of making great impressions on nobles, I answer blandly. Ha! Yes, well, that is why I will be helping you prepare this time. I nod again, settling into the long treatment. It isn't particularly comfortable getting biomancy shoved into my body, but at this point I'm used to it. Penelope was doing it the entire trip to Lisha and back, after all. There's not much else I want to say to her that's safe to say in public, so I don't. I while away the time practicing cancel commands, wishing someone in my head could correct my mistakes for me. Eventually, Penelope finishes. I get up off my increasingly sore chest to stretch, rejoining my team and ignoring the protests of the kids wanting them all to stay. I'm happy to let my team stick around if they want, and Orville apparently made the journey here a number of times alone without getting mugged, so they should be fine without me. Yet with my mom hugged, the treatment's done, and the food given, I have nothing else I need to do here. The others seem to want to follow me, and it's fine too. The 5 of us head out, and as soon as we're alone, Nora turns my way. Vida, what the actual fuck? You're gonna have to be more specific, I tell her blandly. I can't believe the people here look that sick, Bentley whispers. I can't believe you don't know your goddamn family's names. Nora exclaims. Lynn and Rowan are my family, I counter. The kids are. I dunno, they are family now. But for the past year they were just bits of bread not going to my mouth, okay? Lynn and Rowan were my friends and kind of my family, but the kids weren't. They were Lynn and Rowan's, not mine. Nora gives me a searching look, her face pensive. Even if you didn't love them, you don't think it's weird that you don't know their names. It's not like I ever had to get their attention. They knew better than to steal from me, so we left each other alone. But you care about them, Bentley insists. If you care about someone, you should at least know their name. I'm new to the luxury of caring about them, okay? I grumble. Sorry. I guess I'm just not that empathetic. If you weren't empathetic, you wouldn't be helping them at all, Orville points out. I shrug, not arguing the point. I still don't know what Pinter really meant by that. She never pushed it a second time. Well, as shitty as a sister as I may be, thanks for coming everybody. They seemed happy. Yeah, no problem, Vida. It was fun. Nora gives me a reassuring smile, though whether it's reassuring me or herself, I don't know. Kinda reminded me of home. You mean the one you have now or the one where everybody died? I ask. Orville, Bentley, and Nora all wince at the same time. I look around in confusion. Did I miss something? The one where everybody died, Vida, Nora manages to get out. Oh, okay. I pause. There's probably something else I should say, right? You can show me your current home sometime if you want. Why no, since you've seen mine. Sure, it's a date, Nora answers. I wrinkle my nose. I didn't mean it like that. Everyone else bursts into laughter. Even Penelope. Hey. What's so funny? And nothing, never mind, Nora chokes out between laughs. It's just an expression, Vida. I wasn't asking you out. Like, you know, regardless of your actual age. You look way too young. I don't want to date anyone anyway, so that's fine by me, I grumble. Really? Nobody? Nora presses. Is there nobody you find attractive? I didn't say I don't find people attractive, I said I don't want to date anyone. It's annoying. Heck, the last guy I thought was hot almost cut my head off. I have to admit, Templar Desil's face was quite professionally done, Penelope agrees. Into men, huh? Nora grins impishly. How do Bentley and Orville stack up? Hey. Orville protests. Bentley's hotter than Orville, I answer immediately. They are both pretty middle of the road, though. Hey. More laughter erupts, mostly from Penelope and Nora. I smile a little, not totally getting it but glad people seem so amused. As weird as they are my team. And since they are mine, they matter. Well, as fun as this is, Penelope starts, her chuckles fading away, Vida and I need to go take care of a few things. Ooh, you two off to do secret stuff without us? Nora taunts. Yeah, pretty much, I answer bluntly. It's nothing too fancy, Penelope insists. I just owe her for getting that damn slime out of my head. Wait, I thought you said I owe you for, Penelope kicks me in the shin, which hurts like heck. I hop on one foot as I rub on the spot to ease my pain. I don't know why I bother trying to be subtle around you, she grumbles. Now they're going to be curious and bother us incessantly. No, it's fine. We'll leave you alone. Orville backpedals. Right, Nora? Yeah, okay, Nora agrees. The inner smugness radiating off of Penelope indicates that's the response she's been fishing for, but outwardly she remains prickly. Please see that you do, she demands. Now then, shall we, Vida? We head out, and at first I wonder why Penelope isn't having us change clothes. Soon I realize, however, that she plans to buy us new ones. My protests fall on deaf ears as people I've never met before touch me all over, grabbing measurements and rushing to fulfill Penelope's orders. I jab a tailor in the soul when she gets too touchy, causing them to let out a yelp of surprise and jump backwards. Which in turn makes Penelope chastise their professionalism. We don't get the clothes right then and there. Apparently mine have to be made from scratch. So soon enough my ratty ass is back in the rich district, feeling increasingly uncomfortable, what with my blood-covered hunter get-up. At least Penelope is similarly dressed, if not similarly bloody. I don't know how she kept so clean after tromping through the forest, but she did. Fucking mages. Goodness, Lady Vesuvius. The woman behind the counter gasps when we finally make it to the bathhouse. Your friend looks like she got into quite the mess again. Yes, hanging around outside the walls will do that to a woman. Dreadful place. I'd like a private room this time, if you would. There should be an outfit order in my name coming as well, so please have that ready for us when it arrives. Of course, Lady Vesuvius, the receptionist answers, bowing her head. It's so fucking weird that you can make people act like that, I comment. That's how you should be acting. She snaps. Besides, you hardly want to talk about employing disturbing help. Hey. That's unfair. Life's not fair. Now come on. Soon enough we've stripped, rinsed, and gotten into a lusciously warm tub. I let out a sigh of pleasure, my body and soul drooping as the relaxing waters flow over us. I reach tendrils up to comb through my hair, savoring the feeling of pulling my long, ratty nest into a more comfortable arrangement. Penelope raises an eyebrow at the sight, casting some kind of spell before speaking. Well, the kinemancey protections seem solid here, so we should be safe to talk. Therefore, I must ask. What exactly are you doing? Is that kineticism? Don't tell me you've actually become dual-talented. Huh? Oh. No, my soul just has tentacles now. Ah. Could you elaborate, perchance? Boop, I respond, poking her in the soul. The bottom part, of course, since it's so adorably squishy. She doesn't move, but I feel her almost put a plague on me. What was that? Tentacle, I repeat. Didn't I just say that? When the mist watcher looked at me my egg hatched and now I'm an eyeball with tentacles. It's neat. Now I'm kinda wondering if I'm related to the big guy. What, like a demigod? She asks sarcastically, rubbing her belly over where her soul rests. As amusing as that would be, I somehow doubt it. Still. That is what rose the range on your abilities? You are very strange, Vida. I've never heard of a talent anything like yours. I puff up happily. Yeah, well, I guess I am pretty cool, huh? Penelope snorts. Anyway, you say the Mistwatcher did look at you? I imagine you're sure because it caused your hatching? Obviously, from now on, that did not happen. You were mistaken. Any time you are ever asked that, henceforth, you will say nothing else. To do otherwise will likely result in your death. I nod, slowly. Okay. Geez, I can't believe I'm double illegal now. I guess it doesn't really get any worse though. Don't say that, Penelope groans. It can always get worse. Speaking of, Johann, whom to you is exclusively Lord Erebus, or First Lord Erebus if you wish to really lay it on thick, needs to agree to my decision to make you part of his house. Which means we must convince him that you are worth angering Templars for. Without revealing to him that you're an animancer. Don't trust your future husband, huh? He may be my fiancé, but I have no intention of having him as my future husband, she answers immediately. I'm not sure if he'd turn you in or decide to use you, and I'm also not sure which would be worse. I mean, I'm sure which would be worse. Penelope snorts. I flick some water at her, which she ignores. In any case, we're going to claim that you're a natural metamancer, and that I need your assistance to continue my immortality research. Wait, you're doing immortality research? Of course I am. Never mind that immortality would utterly tear apart our entire system of government, it's more or less what I'm forced to research by every noble that has the ability to sway me. And, truth be told, cracking it would without question cause me to be declared a true lady myself, so I admit that somewhat factors into my motivations. Well okay. So all that brain stuff she does is her trying to figure out how to live forever. I don't know how the two things are related, but presumably the biomancer does. So, why am I pretending to be a metamancer? 2 reasons. 1. It's the best way to disguise your death touch. When you kill something with it, the cause of death appears to be mana backlash, of all things. It's the kind of death you'd see from a mage that bit off more than they could chew and failed to cancel their spell in time. There are metamancy spells with similar effects, though none as effective as yours that I know of. And the second reason? I ask, poking at my belly with my soul to watch the skin seem to move of its own accord. Because you are a metamancer, for all intents and purposes. A rather genius one. The woman leans close to me, a manic grin swallowing her face. You have Theodora's soul, yes? And I have taken care of her body. We need only a safe place to put her, and that genius is all ours. I nod, a smile of my own twitching at my lips without prompting. To Theodora's, actually, I correct softly. The Nora would know everything she knew. You saved that soul too? She asks, leaning back again. Well, all the better. It won't be hard to hide 2 revenants when we've hidden the first. Funnily enough, Theodora taught me how. I'll prepare the basics and she can finish them herself. Are you bringing back Penta as well? I think. No, I answer, frowning. She's my friend. I would feel bad controlling her. Penelope rolls her eyes. Isn't that an irony? Well, suit yourself. If things go as planned, we'll both be getting all the power and knowledge we can spare. I can't help but laugh at that, using my tentacles to massage my sore legs. And about how likely do you think it is that things will go to plan? Penelope shrugs. Well. Isn't that the question? They do say no plan survives contact with the enemy, so we may have to improvise at some point. But beyond that, what do you think? I raise an eyebrow, smirking at her. Wait, do I even get a say in it? Yes, she answers simply. Of course you do. I may have a sword hanging over your neck, but I'd prefer you cooperate in spite of that, not because of it. You have many things I want, and I believe I have many things you want. This need not be a relationship of debt or spite. I frown, thinking on that. There is one thing I want that's been bothering me, I say. Oh. Do tell. Well, I've mentioned this offhand a few times before, but I'll come out and say it. Your soul sings your true emotions. It's kinda scary how good you are at hiding them, but I can tell when you're faking. Which is pretty annoying, since you're faking almost all the time. Weren't you the one that got on my case about that back when we first met? It's gonna be hard to like you if you keep saying things that aren't what you mean. She's genuinely taken aback for a moment, flashes of surprise and irritation jolting through her melody. Most prominently, though, her soul is afraid. I think it is going to be even harder for you to like me if I do say what I'm really feeling, Vita, she answers slowly. Well, I counter, let's give it a shot anyway, 'cause this ain't working. A long pause stretches between us, her emotions twisting around in a chaotic tune I can barely follow. Dozens of potential answers pass through her mind, all of which she rejects. Which kind of defeats the point, of course, but I can accept that it's likely a hard habit to break. During our biomancy sessions I have been secretly manipulating your body so that you develop into someone more conventionally attractive when you're older, she eventually admits. I blink. What? Chapter 49. My throat is parched and raw. I can't sing a single second more, no matter how hard I try. No matter how much biomancy I toss at myself and the surviving members of my team, it doesn't matter if we don't have water. It's been almost 2 days since our capture. The black-toothed monster had happily allowed me to heal my team and prevent them from bleeding out, but it supplied neither food nor drink. A slower, more insidious killer than the web-spinning freak torturing us was going to take hold soon: dehydration. All of us are low on fluids from nearly bleeding out multiple times. I can feel myself passing in and out of consciousness already. It won't be long until our deaths. The bastard prods me, trying to get me to sing. I would if I could, but it's simply not possible. My throat no longer works. As if to provide extra incentive, the damned creature bites into Ivan again. He chokes down a scream, and I know he'll die this time. My voice doesn't work, and I've long since lost both my arms. Magic is beyond me, now. I have to try anyway, but the choking croaks that escape my throat are powerless. The creature looks at me as I try to save my teammate one more time, its expression shifting from gleeful expectation to irritation to finally something almost resembling fear. It doesn't want to lose its playthings, huh? At least Ivan gets to hurt it that way before he dies. Hello, sad consolation that is. Fuck. Ivan, I'm so sorry. I wish I could tell him, but I can no more speak than I can sing. I'm so sorry. The monster hisses at me, leaping over to smack me with its forelimbs as I fail to save my friend and ally. It doesn't understand, does it? For all its cleverness, it really doesn't understand that we have to eat and drink? I barely even register the pain. It's not like the damn thing is eating me. As Ivan starts to die, Fulvia does her best to thrash around, to make one final last-ditch attempt to do something. How she still has the strength I don't know. I suppose she'll probably last longer than the rest of us now, with her stronger body. There's nothing the woman can do, though. Even if she could break the webs, she only has one arm. And no legs. We're doomed here. We'll both be joining Ivan soon. A particularly hard blow from the monster strikes me in the head, and I pass out. I wake up to the feeling of something wriggling over my face. The monster has, in this somewhat macabre display of poetic justice, found a small nest weaver and trapped it in threads. It shoves the still struggling creature at my face. I'd laugh if I could. So it figured things out after all, but wants me to eat that? I'm hungry enough to give it a shot, but I can hardly get my teeth around a giant bug and expect to bite through it. I try anyway, desperate for even the barest hope of life, but my teeth can't pierce the spider's flesh. The monster, growling, stabs the nest weaver to hold it still, but what I care about is that it makes the arachnid bleed. Disgusting, beautiful green fluid drips into my throat, and I greedily try to catch every drop. As usual, my team's shared nightmare watches with two intelligent eyes. The moment I've gotten all I can from the spider, a thread shoots out of each of its front limbs, tethering to Fulvia and Ivan, now clearly dead, is left to rot as we're dragged across the ground to unknown parts of the forest. Unable to see where we're going, I only hear the occasional spat between our torturer and other monsters. I don't know if I want the little horror to win in order to buy us a little more life, or to lose so we can finally be killed by whatever bested it. We're dragged and dragged until suddenly my heart leaps up my throat, hope filling me. The back of my head touches something cool and wet, soaking my hair. The beast rolls me over, dunking my face in water. I panic for an instant, considering the irony of drowning while I die of dehydration. I lack the strength to lift my head, after all. Another shot of webbing, though, and my head is forcibly pulled out of the lake's edge, giving me some much-needed air. The small monster stands above and between Fulvia and I, looking almost like a carriage driver holding our reins. I choke a laugh at the comparison shortly before my head is dropped back in the water. I drink, fighting with my self-control to not swallow too much at once. A few more rounds of this and we're dragged back away from the water and rolled onto our backs once more. The monster leaves, returning with corpses. More nest weavers, their missing legs indicating they were once fellow victims. It tries to get us to eat those. I do. Who cares if I get an infection from the meat? What's a possible death in the face of a certain one? Besides, at least it's not Ivan's body. Days pass, the monster learning to feed and water us like the cattle we are. My voice recovers soon, but I do everything I can to not let the beast know. The phantom pains in my missing limbs will only get worse when the monster adds my last leg to their number. I sing when it's gone hunting, trying desperately to push our bodies back into a usable form before the monster catches on, but the damn thing is too clever by half. It finds the stubs of growth coming from our shoulders, greedily gnawing them off before going directly for our last remaining limbs. I sing as loud as I can, trying desperately to drown out the sound of Fulvia's bones being shattered between those horrible jaws. Claretta. Fulvia begs. Claretta, stop. Please. Stop. No. I can't do that. We have to keep hope. We have to try to escape, try to survive to be rescued. Claretta. Her words are cut off as the monster takes another bite. I'm looking up at the sky, unable to face my friend while it happens. I just sing. Sing, sing, sing. It's what I'm good at, what I love. Just let the watcher take me, Claretta. My last teammate screams. I'm figuring out a spell for the pain. I insist, halting my spell just long enough to say so. We won't feel it forever, and, shut up. Shut up and let me die. Squeezing my eyes shut, tears wetting my face, I ignore her pleas, resuming my song and forcing her body to stay functional. She rages and curses at me, but I only have ears for the song. Many more days pass. I don't know how many. A dozen, at least. I'm now convinced the monster never sleeps. Not just as a paranoia-induced nightmare, although I certainly have no end of those, but it literally never sleeps. It rests, sometimes, sitting motionless and staring at something or another. Its pure black eyes never stay closed for long, though, always watching. When it's not busy engorging itself on our flesh, I often watch back. The dark creature is growing. Visibly so, even over the spattering of weeks I've known it. When standing on its hind limbs before, I doubt it could have made it to my waist when we first met. Now it would probably reach my belly button. Its spider-like limbs are thickening, changing slowly in length and shape. Most terrifying of all, however, is its head. The bug-like features are shifting, its large, widespread eyes focusing more forward and shrinking in size. Its mouth has lost the vestigial mandibles previously around its face, shifting to imitate the rounder form of the humanoid skull. Bits of chitin slough off the monster's head day by day, revealing a humanoid nose that reminds me very, very much of Ivan's. It notices me staring, grinning widely at me. The teeth of a monster contrast the face of a child. It is uncannily wrong, still only halfway through whatever macabre transformation is taking place, but it grows more and more familiar every day. What is this creature eating when it gnaws at us? Our flesh, or our very humanity? I look away, going back to singing. I'm far too tired for a magical song, having spent my energy at that for hours earlier today. Properly fed and watered, though, I do not need to worry about straining my voice. I can, after all, heal any damage sustained from singing. By singing. And singing is all I can do to chase away the constant torment of reality. This is a lark's story, content yet seeking more. The lark flies far for she loves not but to explore. From islands high she sees so far, searching still for something new. But the lark can't fly above the sky, so down and down she flew. I learned the song in church, but at its heart I always felt a lark's story is a song for hunters. A song for the ever-restless, the ever-seeking. A song for people like my team who would risk their lives in the forest beyond all sanity, who would fight impossible odds against ever more dangerous circumstances for no reason beyond the restlessness in our souls. Singing has always given me hope, and I pray to the all-seeing Watcher that it gives Fulvia the hope she needs too. Yet while the Church encourages prayer, it teaches us to know better than expect those prayers to be answered. This. Ice. Alaxtora. The dark beast sings along, its screechy, horrible voice menacingly off-key. Content yesiki moo. I stop singing, the monster padding back onto my belly with that horrible, horrible grin on its face. It lies down to make itself comfortable, head resting on my chest as it continues its butchery of music. The lark Feifafosi. Loves Nabuto explore. You're not the one that's supposed to like it, I whisper helplessly. For the first time, the idea of singing disgusts me. This thing has taken even music from me. Supposed T-linked. It copies, eyes sparkling with glee. It's learning from us, Claretta, Fulvia moans. You have to let us die. Fulvia, I won't just roll over and give up, I answer, though the words come out as less confident than they should. They'll have dispatched another team by now. We have to, it eats you less. Fulvia screeches back, glaring at me with a mad look in her eyes. You don't even watch, you cowardly bitch. Look at it. It fucking likes you. The rest of us. It tests things. Ivan was first. It's pushing how much torture it can get away with before we die, and it likes you because you help it. You help it. You're on its side, you bitch. I want to protest, but before I can the beast leaps up. Back arched, it hisses furiously in Fulvia's direction, its teeth bared in threat rather than smile. Don't like me yelling at your favorite pet? She taunts. Come bite my throat out already, you piece of shit. It leaps over to her, biting through her cotton armor and spitting it out before tearing into the side of her rib cage. I start singing as Fulvia screams, stopping the bleeding as quickly as I can while the monster savors and swallows its morsel. Thrashing and roaring at it, Fulvia continues to incite the monster through her pain until it gets fed up, pressing a thick forelimb down on her throat and cutting off her airway. Wait. Stop. I beg it, cutting off my song. You're choking her. I don't know if it's because I stopped singing, if it noticed the desperation in my tone, or if it somehow understood. But the monster turns to glare at me for a moment before obeying. Fulvia's body gasps for breath, her instinctive will to live overpowering whatever suicidal madness held her for now. I go back to singing while the monster bites into many of Fulvia's bindings, tearing through webbing and armor alike. It seems to have noticed that our clothes aren't part of our body. Chewing it off, the dark creature detaches and upends Fulvia's breastplate, filling the inside with webbing before curling upward then to rest. Fulvia starts to sob, her occasional quiet hiccups contrasting the complex melodies of my healing music. I feel her trying to resist my spell, but she's so weak I push through it without any trouble. Fuck you, Claretta, she whispers hopelessly. So much for consenting to treatment. I just keep singing. The wound isn't terrible, and to a mix of pride and horror I'm getting quite good at treating monster bites. Only when I'm done ensuring she'll live do I answer. I'm sorry, Fulvia. I don't think you're sound of mind when you say those things. I'm not. She cries. I'm not at all. Don't you feel something missing when it eats you, Claretta? I swear, it's biting more than flesh. Please, just let me keep my dignity before I die. You'll keep your dignity, I promise. You won't die either. Liar. You're worse than it. At least the monster doesn't pretend to be doing me a favor. I flinch, unable to respond. Leaning over from its new bed, the dark creature from Haveric takes another bite out of Fulvia's body, swallowing it whole. Once again, I start singing. Chapter 50, Conventionally Attractive? What does that even mean? What are you doing to me? Penelope's revelation is not sitting well with me. A biomancer fucking with my body without permission? She can't do that. It's my body. Vita, this kind of thing is important. A lot of people pay incredible amounts of money for this kind of thing. It's nothing harmful to you. Then why the fuck wouldn't you just ask me about it first? I growl at her. What the hell are you not telling me? A lot. She snaps back. Vida, I don't tell people most of what I do. Some of it is for their own good, and some of it is just for mine, but no one can tell the damn difference. I'm just fucking tired of explaining myself to people when I can get better results from not bothering. You would have been perfectly happy never knowing, and I was never going to tell you. Yet here we are, here is your wish. Are you satisfied? No. Exactly. She snaps. Never mind that I am, for free, opening countless future doors to you that you'd otherwise be unable to choose. Never mind that the changes are entirely unobtrusive and unharmful. I'm clearing blemishes, smoothing skin, fixing teeth. I'm still hated for it. But you need this, Vida. This is the kind of thing that makes a difference on whether or not important people like you. We're women. People will look past a lot for a pretty face, nobles included. And I'm sure you rely on that, I jab, but of course I'm going to be pissed off when I find out you're messing with my stuff without permission. Well, they say it's better to seek forgiveness than ask for permission anyway, she responds scornfully. I glare at her, standing up in the bath as my tendrils curl dangerously around her body. There's a lot you haven't been forgiven for, yet. What, you mean your slime friend? She asks scornfully, matching my hateful gaze. Please. It was a biam answer too, and it knew how I think. There's no way it wasn't aware. It just chose not to tell you either, because it knew I'm right. That gives me pause. Penta knew, but didn't tell me? Penelope truly believes that, she's being honest. Why wouldn't Penta tell me, though? Penta is a she, not an it, I answer lamely. And that's not an argument, Penelope answers. Is there any particular reason you'd prefer to be ugly? I swallow. I guess not. Then is this matter settled? Penelope impatiently growls. I don't answer, and after a while she snorts. People are so often put out by the doings of those they didn't personally approve. But most people are stupid, Vida. The entire reason the government exists, nobles in particular, is that some of us know better. It is essential to put the right people in charge of the fools, as anarchy leads to nothing but chaos and rot. You know that better than anyone, living where you did. Survival of the fittest does not mean survival of the wisest or best, not by a long shot. Yet the hell I grew up in festers in your city, I counter. The nobles aren't helping. She nods, her eyes hard. When I'm a first lady, Penelope promises I will. I swallow, sitting back down as my tentacles retract back into my body. She's serious about that, too. For all her flaws, she seems to care about something I can't afford to not help her with. Not when Lynn and Rowan are still stuck there. Penelope. Do you think I'm stupid? I ask slowly. She raises an eyebrow at me, shifting to stretch her back. I think you're completely uneducated, but no. If anything, you're remarkably intelligent for someone in your position. I've seen you look over my shoulder to read my work, you know. How did you become literate with your background? What? I don't know, I picked it up somewhere. Maybe someone taught me, I don't remember. But the important thing is that if you don't think I'm stupid, if you don't think I'm the kind of fool that shouldn't ever have power, why are you bothering to hide stuff from me? If you're right, you should be able to convince me of that. You don't need to go behind my back all the time. She snorts. So you agree with me, then? Is that your measure of whether or not I'm being dumb? It is for this, she answers flatly. Unless you have any sort of real objection. I pause, scratching my cheek as I think about it. Well, the only objection I have is not getting consulted about it, I guess. I don't mind looking nice, but I very much mind you messing with my body without telling me what you're doing. I want to know. Fine, Penelope relents. I'll do that. I nod, and that's all there is to it. Sinking deeper into the warm waters, I catch myself once again wondering if my family will ever be able to experience something as nice as this. Probably not, I suppose. I'm rich by my standards, but certainly not by the standards of the people that live in the inner city. Hey, Penelope? I ask after a while. She murmurs in response. The girl is clearly enjoying her soak in the bath as she lounges with her eyes closed. You said you've seen the Mistwatcher, right? I ask. When you went to those edge cities with your grandpa? What did you think of it? Penelope opens her eyes, shifting uncomfortably in her seat. Well, it is the single most terrifying and incredible demonstration of biological mastery I have ever witnessed, she responds eventually. It seems impossible, you know? Something that large. How can it even move? How does it not get crushed by its own weight? It looks alive. If it truly is, it is a creature of perfection beyond human understanding. Yeah, I breathe. It's beautiful, isn't it? Though if you could see its soul. Her eyebrows raise. It is beautiful. Impossibly so. I worry that may be a magical effect. Some kind of conomancy, drawing people to adore it. The church would deny it, of course, but we both know how reliable that is. Besides, even if it is magical, I can't get the image out of my head. What's this about its soul? The Mistwatcher takes the souls of the dead, I confirm. Using tentacles like mine, but ones that reach all over the world. I think it just eats them. Like I do. Its soul form looks like its physical form, but with mouths instead of eyes. Penelope's eyes widen. That's disturbing. All the more reason to become immortal, I suppose. I chuckle at that. Well, our clothes are likely here by now, Penelope says suddenly, standing up and letting the water drip off her body. Holy shit, I'm just so much thinner than her. Not that she is rotund or anything, but none of her bones are showing. Her whole figure is just very soft. Like a series of expensive pillows shoved into a human shape. I follow her out, drying off and wrapping up in towels as we head to another room. Inside, sure enough, are a bunch of brand new outfits hung up beautifully. Or at least, I assume they're hung up beautifully. I have exactly zero knowledge or interest in fashion and clothing, being someone that goes everywhere in a scratchy cloak that's pretty much as big as I am. What the heck? I ask, holding up some underwear. Why is this bra so huge? Am I supposed to wear this? It's padded, Penelope answers. To make your chest look bigger. I scrunch my eyebrows together. Why the fuck? Just put it on, Penelope snaps. You should wear a bra anyway, it will help with the sensitivity. The padding on that one is for show, but every little bit is going to help here. Don't I look like a child? You do, which is bad for our purposes, Penelope answers. Drawing attention away from that so you seem more mature will help sell the notion that you're going to reliably assist with the research I'll be ostensibly employing you for. She pauses for a moment. Also, I suspect Lord Erebus will rather like it, which will be more points in your favor. It's best not to play a game of cards until you've finished stacking the deck, as it were. Getting used to the stairs while you still look too young for them to linger will be good practice. Later I'll teach you how to properly reject the advances of a noble, but that's a lesson for another day. For now, just do not separate from me. If someone tries anything with you, ignore them and let me handle it. I chew on those words for a while, my skin crawling at all the implications she just smoothly passed over. Penelope, this creeps me the fuck out, I tell her firmly. I am not at all comfortable being paraded around as eye candy. She gives me an honest, sympathetic look, a bit of genuine regret passing through her. Nor should you be, she answers. This isn't right, and it isn't fair. Frankly, it's outright disgusting. But it gets results, so I'm going to insist you do it anyway. I scowl, but nod and put it on. Shit, she really thought about all this. This social stuff goes so far over my head I don't have much choice but to take her word for it. I kinda get the logic though, as unhappy as I am with the implication that people will be more likely to save my life if it looks like I have bigger breasts. That sounds utterly crazy, but, well, very much the kind of crazy I'm pessimistic enough to believe. The rest of my outfit is equally confusing, though it's at least simple. A long-sleeve black dress that exposes way too much of my legs for comfort and some matching shoes are more or less all there is to put on, Penelope insisting that there's no better color for me than black. It's nice enough, although some dangly bits on the end of the sleeves that seem to have no purpose annoy me immediately. Penelope, meanwhile, wears a crazy, sleeveless thing that exposes most of her breasts and all of her back. The bottom half is even more egregious, though, being a massively poofy waste of fabric and dye that I can barely comprehend. The entire dress is such a beautiful dark blue that I suspect it costs more than all the money I've ever physically seen in my life. That thing looks like it's about to fall off, I comment. That's the idea, Penelope counters with a smile. But it won't. The tailor would be ruined for generations if a faux pas like that occurred. How does it stay up, though? I press. Is it like suction, or? Vida, you just worry about your own dress. Make sure to sit with your legs crossed, if you're invited to sit. The last thing you want to do is flash your underwear at Lord Erebus. If you're worried about that, then put me in pants next time. I snap, smoothing out the dress in an effort to try and make it cover lower. Oh, quit fiddling. It's a knee cut. You're fine. I'm sure you've worn something that showed more leg. Well yeah, but only 'cause it rotted and fell apart. It's different when it's on purpose. You're the whiniest abomination I have ever met, Penelope groans. I'm the only abomination you've ever met. Penelope snorts derisively, walking out of the changing room. Reluctantly, I follow, stopping only at the reflecting pool. Penelope says nothing, politely waiting in silence as I stare at myself for a long time. My face still looks foreign and wrong, something about it not sitting well with me. Yet, it's mine. It obviously is, since I'm the one controlling it. I start poking at it with my tentacles, watching the face squish and stretch to my will. It's just so strange. Eventually, we depart. Penelope pays the staff and I nervously follow alongside her as we descend deeper into the rich district, the houses evolving into ever more extravagant manners. Approaching one, the armed gate guards bow politely to Penelope, opening the way for her without a word. She struts in like she owns the place, flashing me a confident smile. I don't think I can match the mood. This place is already pissing me off. The fucking fountain here is so excessive that the money it cost could probably renovate half the slums. A servant greets us and we're brought inside, but I barely pay any attention. My anger only builds as I see the inside of the house, covered with dyed tapestries and all sorts of fancy shit left on display for no reason beyond the pride of being able to amass such useless things. Vida, Penelope hisses under her breath. Quit making that face. You look like you're going to kill somebody. Oh, fuck. I take a deep breath, schooling my expression. Think of it like Lisha, Penelope says softly. How you're perceived could be the difference between life and death. Right. Yeah. This is just another mission. It may be less immediately deadly, but it's no less important to my survival. Down the rich and expensive hallways we go, until we're eventually shown to a rich and expensive waiting room. At least the master of the house doesn't keep us waiting for long. Lord Erebus will see you now, the servant announces, bowing as she opens the door for us. The man himself is sitting behind a fancily carved wooden desk, his lean, hawkish face smiling pleasantly. Tall and thin, his brownish-red hair and blue eyes contrast pale and unblemished skin, leaving an oddly foreign impression I can't quite place. More interesting than all of that is his soul, however, a dark brown orb in which twists of purple roil like fire in slow motion. From the sides of it he's clearly no powerful fighter, though considering the gleam of metal on his fingers I suspect there might be a few very nasty tricks he could pull if someone tried to attack him. Penelope, Lord Erebus greets warmly, welcome home. I must admit I was startled to hear that you'd joined the Hunters Guild. I'm overjoyed to see you back safely. His eyes travel up and down her dress, drinking in his supposed future wife's beauty. I get a similar treatment, though thankfully his gaze spends most of its time on Penelope. Maybe that's part of why she chose to put on such a saucy outfit. It would certainly have been nice of her if so. As you can see, I'm no worse for wear, she responds, smiling right back at him. Just a little annoyed that the Templars seem to have ruined my surprise for you. I didn't want to tell you until I got something to show for the risk, but alas. I was ever so slightly too late. The risk. My dear, over a third of hunters die in the first year of employment. Over half die in the first 5 years. You think I'm the lower half, darling? Penelope protests smoothly. I'm hurt. He sighs, looking away. We'll have this conversation later. For now, let's talk about this other problem you've dropped on me. Though I admit. Vita, is it? Yes, Lord Erebus, I answer. I was ready for that one. I've read up on you, and heard quite a few things from quite a few people. Firstly, however, I would like to thank you. I hear you are responsible for halting the first Nora incursion in 50 years, and directly freeing my betrothed. That alone would normally be enough to want you working under me, but I have here some disturbing reports about the church charging you with multiple high crimes and 2 investigative demands. You understand, I'm sure, that this puts me in a difficult position. I nod, not quite sure what to say. The First Lord steeples his fingers, leaning his elbows on his desk. Are they true? He asks. I didn't cause the perception event, I lie firmly. I don't even know how I could have possibly done that. I don't know what the other thing I'm apparently being accused of is, though. He nods slowly, piercing blue eyes locked on mine. I see. Does the name Ars mean anything to you? I blink. Ars? Had I heard that name before? No, I'm sure I haven't. I shake my head. No, Lord Erebus. He nods again. That's all I need from you, then. My fiancé and I will speak on this alone. You may go. I shrug. That works for me. Turning around, I walk out without another word. I can feel Penelope wince at the action without even looking at her, the sound of her soul screeching briefly off key. What, was I supposed to say something? She never taught me that. He told me to do something, so I'm doing it. Letting myself out, I sit down in the waiting room, making sure to keep my legs crossed like Penelope told me to, and, well, wait. They talk for a good while before Lord Erebus eventually gets up to pull Penelope close for a while. Then, she exits, a triumphant smile on her face. I'm good, then? I ask. You're good, she confirms. Things went rather well. Surprisingly so. Neat. Now what? Now? She purrs, anticipation filling her features. Now we go stretch your talents, Vita. It's time to push them as far as they'll go. My tendrils curl gleefully, a grin of my own growing to match hers. I stand up, ready to follow her. I can barely wait. Finally, I get to do some fucking necromancy. Chapter 51. Shouldn't we have changed for this? I asked grumpily, descending down the stairs after Penelope. She glances up at me, her grin gleaming in the dim light. Vita, please. How could you even think of doing forbidden blasphemies in anything but a black dress? I roll my eyes, declining to comment. Penelope had apparently bought an entire building for us to hole up our magical stuff in, one with a nice, expansive basement to boot. It's well outside the rich district, thankfully, though to my irritation it's on the complete opposite side of the city to the shack in our branch of the Hunters Guild. We get down to the lower levels, all dreary and coldstone. Penelope immediately sets about casting spells all over the place, though exactly what they are I can only guess. There. Done, she eventually announces, dusting off her hands against each other. At least, done to the degree I can do. We'll have them shored up in a moment, though, because... Walking off into another room for a moment, she returns with some kind of wheeled table on which Theodora's body rests, intricate tattoos covering almost every part of her skin. I do mean almost every part, too, and given my knowledge of that I'm forced to wonder. Why is she naked? Penelope asks, raising an eyebrow. Oh. She's a corpse, Vita. We had to drain the blood, stitch up that neck wound, apply the spells to keep her from rotting, so on and so forth. Much easier without pointless fabric in the way. Does biomancy work on dead bodies? I ask. Well, not really, no. Most biomancers, myself obviously included, know a few precision-focused kineticism spells, however. Sometimes you just need to grab something in a body and move it around a little. Setting bones, removing arrowheads, etc. And biomancy can be used to delay decomposition, since that's a biological process, mostly. She paces around the wheel table, still grinning as she lectures me. Bodies like this one are often prepared for biomancy training. Teaching the little aspiring caster's kidneys from the liver, as it were. So there are a few more I bought after Lord Erebus pushed the Mages Guild into getting me a teaching license. Anyone who finds a few corpses in our basement isn't going to suspect a thing. What if the corpses walk around? I asked blandly. Well, they'll probably figure it out, at that point, Penelope responds, her voice equally flat. Right. Well, since Theodora is about to walk around, do you think she might want a robe or something? Penelope opens her mouth, closes it, and then opens it again. Well, yes, I suppose I hadn't thought of that. I'll go see what I can find. I pull Theodora's soul out while she's off finding some cloth for our soon-to-be ally. A glittering, vibrant blue contrasts with lighting-shaped arcs of red dancing around it. It's a striking soul that is among the largest and the most beautiful in my collection. I can't deny I have a strong temptation to just eat it, but I'm equally curious about controlling it. I wait for a moment, half expecting something to seize control of my mouth and berate me for that thought. It never comes, of course. What would Penta say, though? What would Rowan say? That it's wrong? She's a person, so I shouldn't do it. She's not a person I know, though. She's not my friend or my family. Perhaps more importantly, I need her. If she's as talented as Penelope seems to think, she'll probably be invaluable in figuring out my powers and how to refine them. Ironically, by forcing her to be dedicated to me, we have the best chance to figure out how to undo that dedication. Penelope is no metamancer and certainly no animancer. It might mess Theodora up for now, but the good it could do later. Removing a shard from my soul, I push it into the orb that holds Theodora. With my senses far better than when I last did this, I can see my shard wedging itself inside, shifting and extruding root-like structures in and around the soul. Slowly but surely, my shard melts away until it is nothing but those twisting tendrils, fusing with the spirit and leaving it subtly changed. The process makes the striking soul even more beautiful, to my delight. Penelope returns shortly after with a blanket and a smock, laying the former over top the body and setting the latter nearby. Okay, got that taken care of, she announces. Now, I want to watch you do your soul trick. I already made the Revenant soul, if that's what you mean, I answer, raising my eyebrow as she scowls a little at me. You can watch the next one. I'm going to put this in her body now, okay? Fine, fine. Make the magic happen, Vita. I shrug, pushing the new and improved soul into Theodora's corpse. The body twitches briefly as the soul spreads within it until suddenly my revenant's eyes shoot open, Theodora sucking in a very unnecessary breath. Instantly her hand goes to her throat, eyes looking around wildly as she slowly sits up. W what happened? She breathes. Where? Her eyes lock onto me and go wide. I wave at her. Hi. Vita? I thought you. No. I'm here. Are you quite all right, Theodora? Penelope asks, approaching with a calm smile. How do you feel? Numb, Theodora answers, rapidly glancing at and away from me. Did you save me? In a manner of speaking, Penelope answers smoothly. What do you remember? Well, there were the slimes. And I was trapped. And then. She points a shaky hand at me. You killed me. And now I love you. No, why would I? I'm not thinking right. This is animancy, isn't it? Horror and joy war on Theodora's pale, bloodless face. Penelope glances my way. It's the only way we had to save your life, I say. Sorry it's not perfect. Oh, of course, Theodora sighs, visibly relaxing at my words. That makes sense, you. And no. Wait. She almost immediately tenses up again, mana flowing into her soul as her fingers start to move in fast spell patterns. It's not sensible at all. She shouts furiously. I'll not. Calm down, I order, and she sags like a puppet with strings cut. I recognize a cancel command, channeled mana exiting her as the anger instantly leaves her. A tingle goes down my spine, smile twitching at my lips. Sorry, Vita, Theodora whispers. I'm not sure what came over me there. I mean, I know what. I can tell you. She groans in frustration, clutching at her own head. How about you get dressed for now, and we'll explain stuff? I hedge. Immediately, she moves to put the smock on as instructed. I hadn't expected her to be this lucid. Greg never cared that he was being mind-controlled. It's definitely weird this way. Is she going to be alright? Penelope whispers at me, moving slightly behind me to put my body between her and the Revenant. How should I know? I whisper back. This is like the third time I've done this. I can hear you, Theodora says. I'm not deaf. Somehow. I'm dead, aren't I? My body's not right. I can't believe you two did this. Are you behind the Nora as well? No. I answer. No, Theodora, this is just. I'm a natural necromancer, is all. I'm trying to save you. I just don't understand how it all works. She finishes dressing, standing up from the table. Her bare feet show no obvious discomfort from standing on the cold stone floor, and her piercing eyes stare unblinkingly in my direction. A dubious claim. Show me. I glance over at Penelope. I'll go get another corpse, I suppose, she says, heading out of the room and leaving me with my unwilling servant. Well, this is certainly not how I expected things to go, I comment. Yes, Theodora says slowly. Sorry. Perhaps I am overreacting. Or, maybe what you did to me is making me think I'm overreacting? Maybe both, I comment, shrugging. We're not going to hurt you or anything. No. No, of course not, Theodora murmurs, entirely to herself. You'd never do that. The dead woman grabs her chin between her thumb and forefinger, eyebrows twitching as she tries to navigate her new, slightly foreign mental state. I watch curiously as her soul repeatedly sparks with anger, only to be choked by the twisting remnants of the shard I placed within her. It's simultaneously exciting and disturbing. Here we are, Penelope announces, bringing out two more corpses, an older man and, to my grim lack of surprise, a young girl that looks like she starved to death. I walk towards it immediately, pulling out Vitamin's soul. Because, really, would anything else fit for the poor memory stealer? Watch, Theodora, I say, and her eyes gravitate to me immediately. I'm not casting, it's just a talent. Plunking the soul in the corpse, I wait for my monstrous slime daughter to rise in her new body. Almost immediately, her eyes shoot open. Mom. She squeals, happily leaping off the table and wrapping me up in a hug. I'm not a rat anymore. Yes. Holy shit, it's like hugging one of Lynn's little ones. Except colder. Hi, Vitamin, I murmur, kneeling down to hug her back. Sorry about the wait. Supposedly we have a safe place here, finally. About that. Could you double-check my work on the masking enchantments, Theodora? Penelope asks. I'm fairly certain I got them right, but I'm sure you could do better. Safe. Safe how? How far can I go? Vitamin presses. Just within these few rooms, for now, Penelope answers. And? Sorry, if I can back us up here for a few moments. Did that revenant just call you Mom? Of course I did. Vitamin answers, grinning in Penelope's direction. She raised me. Get it? I snort, then start to laugh as Penelope and Theodora each send concerned looks my way. Grabbing the little one under the armpits, I raise her up to my shoulders. I already made that joke, I tell her. What? No. That's totally the kind of thing you just think and then keep to yourself because you're awkward. So hey, am I really stuck down here? Wow, ouch. Kids can be mean. For now, yeah, I answer regretfully. Unless you'd rather be in stasis. You're using the masking formula so external detection doesn't see hints of necromancy, Theodora murmurs, looking around. They should be fine. Can you improve them in any way? I ask Theodora. I'm counting on you to keep everything here safe. She halts a bit. Right. Of course. Yes. Well, there are a few weaknesses, actually. Let me just. She gets to work casting on the walls, and I scowl. She's going to be trouble, huh? The Revenant seems to have no issue following direct orders when I give them, but... Don't worry, Mom, Vitamin murmurs, picking up on my concern immediately. I'll keep an eye on her for you. I squeeze her leg in thanks, and she returns it with a hug to the forehead. Nothing like a slime with all my memories to back me up. I have the weirdest family. Theodora, Penelope says smoothly. I understand being less than enthused at the prospect of being an undead revenant, but we are merely hoping to get your assistance with magical research. That is already a passion of yours, is it not? I fled Skyhope so I wouldn't be forced to do anyone else's magical research, Theodora snaps. If this is the nobility's way to press me into their work, it certainly shows me I was right to leave. I should have fled all the way to Meridian. Though I guess I. She starts mumbling to herself, glancing my way as she struggles to fight the influence of my shard. This situation. I don't like it. I mean, I do like it, instinctively, but it's still bad. Firstly because it's dangerous to our plans, but also, I feel no better than the slimes I just killed. Theodora, I say, butting in. Like I said before, I'm a natural necromancer. I have no way to revive you without doing what I've done to your mind. I don't know how my power works. I know this isn't fair to you, but you and I together have the best chance of figuring it out. If you help me learn more animancy, I can undo what I've done to you. Ideally, I want to learn to make you a living body again. Will you please help? If you prefer death, I can grant that to you instead. You'll free me from this? She presses. Yes, I confirm. One way or another. After a long pause, she answers. Then I'll join you, Theodora says. I felt the remnant of my shard pulse within her before her answer, but I smile anyway. That's good enough for me, at least for now. We need her. Okay. Great. I'm really sorry that I, got you killed. The slime and Remus technically did it, but, well, I screwed up and gave him the chance. But hey, on the upside, at least you're immune to Nora now? She snorts, breaking out into a slight chuckle. Yes, that's. Well, I wouldn't say I like the idea of being a soul slave, but it's better, I'll give you that. How are the others? Safe, alive, and slime-free, I answer. Although, Lisha is occupied by Templars, now. Ugh. Well, it's to be expected, even if it's hardly ideal. Thank you for saving the others. I nod. The slimes, however, are dead. But well, I'm still a necromancer, so how would you feel about no, working with the one that controlled you? In separate bodies, of course. Two experienced metamancers are better than one, right? Theodora is quiet for a moment, her dead form not so much as twitching as she stares me down. Vitamin starts playing with my hair. Have you already messed with the slime's soul? She asks. To make her loyal? Not yet, I say. But I'll have to do that, it's part of the process that lets my power make you a revenant at all. I'll happily let you get a good look at it. Your talent is something about analysis, right? It is, yes. I still seem capable of using it as well, even after death. I nod. We should test sometime if you can use it in a different body, I think. For now, though. There's a pause as the woman considers it, her thoughts unknown to me as she contemplates the question behind that stony gaze. Go for it, she eventually murmurs. I nod, pulling out the slime soul and a shard of my own and mixing the two together. Theodora's eyebrows scrunch together, watching with enraptured attention. When the soul is ready, I plunk it into the old man corpse. It's an almost comical mirror to Theodora as the slime with the same name wakes up, hand on her neck, sharp intake of breath. W what happened? The new Reverend asks, voice raspy and odd as she sits up slowly. Where? The human Theodora immediately punches her in the face. Tope continued, thanks for listening.